Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those who are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So we just witnessed a free fall of the markets over the last 24 hours, and that is because of the tariff discussions. Now, we knew that this was going to happen. We knew that Sunday was not going to be the best time for the markets because of the tariff announcements that were going to be announced. And there was a lot of discussions around tariffs. There's a lot of big updates as well. And I do think that this will most likely continue into, of course, tomorrow's market open. Now, the big thing that I'm actually looking at is how the market's going to react. Because we've been hearing talks about Black Monday, right? It's going to be the worst crash since going all the way back to Black Monday. I'm actually betting on the opposite happening because, again, it just feels so obvious that the markets are going to crash. Maybe I'm wrong here. But as we do really kind of look at the markets, as we look at the bearish, indicators, everything is red hot for being bearish. I also think that as we really look at the price action in the space, Bitcoin down below 80K again, sitting at about 78.6K. This is what the last 1 year looks like on Bitcoin. We're just ranging around these lows from back in the beginning of March and even the lows from like February. This is causing a lot of panic because, again, we're losing major trends. We're losing the previous lows. Even XRP just lost. We look at this again on the 1 year, XRP just lost the $2 support zone. And this is on the weekly, which is a very, very big deal. Now, I did say previously that we could hit about $1.60 to about roughly $1.90 or so. This is one big fair value gap. Ultimately, I'm really kind of looking at 160 to 180 on XRP. On Bitcoin, the main focus here is anywhere between like $74,000. It's roughly around like 70K to about like $74,000. Just really retesting the previous highs on the chart. But outside of that, a lot of altcoins, including like HBAR, have been very bearish because they've been just completely downtrending in a free fall almost, losing support zones, losing major trends. And this is because, of course, Bitcoin selling off while Bitcoin dominance is so high. Now, the big thing that I'm really kind of looking at is just how red this market has been. The 1 year has been pretty red. The 1 month is extremely red. The week, it's just a sea of red across the board. This is also indicating at this current moment in time that retail is most likely panicking. And I do think that as we really look at the fear and greed index, that's pretty clear. We are now at extreme levels. We have not seen extreme fear levels since going back to 2022. So everyone is extremely fearful. While, again, Bitcoin is at 78K, XRP is at $1.90, even HBAR is still sitting at about 14 cents. It feels like an overreaction. Now, I did put out a post on X and I said tariff announcements on a Sunday while the stock market is closed, classic. These markets are being heavily manipulated. We just witnessed Jim Cramer flip peak bearish for tomorrow while markets sold off into the weekly close. I think now is the time to take a moment to think logically. We are now in extreme fear and a bearish environment. We are either seeing the bottom here or close to it. And yes, I do believe this. I strongly believe that we are either at the bottom or close to it. And I do think that the markets are going to rebound when we least expect it. And what better day to actually bounce back than on Monday, where everyone is expecting this Black Monday-like crash because Jim Cramer has been telling us, mainstream media has been telling us, the big banks are now saying the big R word, aka recession. They're projecting a recession happening this year. It's up over like 30+% to 50+% on certain banks like Goldman Sachs. And it just feels as if we are trying to get shaken out in the biggest way possible that I've ever seen. It doesn't feel exactly like COVID, but I will say this. I saw a post from King Solomon, and he put this into perspective. He said, I remember in 2020 when crypto crashed, people thought it was all over. XRP was at 11 cents. HBAR was at roughly 1 cent. Bitcoin was at $4,500. Ethereum was at $90. XDC was at fractions of a penny. It wasn't all over. In times of public hysteria, you have a choice to not be hysterical and have a plan and stick to it. And yes, I do think that now is the best time to have a plan. It's not the time to act impulsively. It's not the time to be extremely fearful. I don't think that even now is a time to be selling. And in fact, I'm looking to buy heavily. I'm looking at opportunities in this space that are extremely oversold, utility-based projects that are extremely oversold. I think now is one of the best times to be focused on the big picture. All the banks are telling us to be fearful. All the mainstream media outlets are telling us to be fearful. You have Jim Cramer telling us about Black Monday. Think for 1 second. In the past, every single cycle, what are we being force-fed? Fear post. Everything's all over. The sky is falling. Things are going to crash. You know, a recession is almost here. This, that, whatever. Back in 2021, we saw it. Back in 2020, we saw it. Prior cycles, we also saw it. We're now seeing it again. And it makes me extremely bullish because I know what happens next. Over here, I said the writing is on the wall, yet the majority won't read it. Jim Cramer warns a potential Black Monday crash. He's talking about a 20+% drop in 1 day. Now, this reinforces my idea that I did share with you guys already in a previous video. If you guys do want to go and check that out, or if you just want to pause the video and read this breakdown for myself, you guys are more than welcome to. But basically, it outlines how bearish the environment around crypto is by the big names. And it's not just crypto, like I said, it's stocks as well. But again, the environment here is ripe for a big bounce. Now, on top of this, we just saw a big update, which was breaking. Japan, trading in Japan, halted after the Nikkei 225 plunges 6% on the open. This is crazy because, again, everything is starting to align. Everyone is panicking. A global meltdown is happening. Everything is selling off. We should be panicking. Everything's on fire. You know, we sell everything, get out of everything. Again, go back in time. Look at these major events. Look at how fast the recovery was. Right now, if we look at what we are being told, here we have investor Bill Ackman warns of economic nuclear winter. I mean, think about these, the way that they're describing this. Economic nuclear winter. Unless there's a timeout on tariffs. I mean, this is just, it's comical to me. Any buzzword, any, significant fearful words that they could throw to us, they're doing it. Economic nuclear winter is just a crazy statement to me. And it shows their hand, right? It shows the hand that they're playing, and they're playing the manipulation hand. They know that this tariff talk and all of the noise around it, including the bearish noise, is exactly that. It's just noise. All of these big accounts like Finance Law, right? 231,000 plus followers. Dow Jones and Russell 2000 futures are currently finding support at a Fibonacci level. This is a wave C and 5 on the Elliott wave patterns, indicating the current flash crash is the final wave before beginning a new uptrend. That would align with the 1929 pattern. And here we actually have that breakdown of how this would look and the recovery status around this as well. I do think that we just saw one of the biggest flash crashes on Friday. Now, the big players like Jim Cramer and all of the retail sector is wanting more. They think that Monday, tomorrow, today, if you will, is going to crash more. What if we already saw the bottom? What if we rebound? Well, all of a sudden you start to see a major squeeze coming, because if we go over here, we have always pay attention to on a tilt like this in put/call ratios, as late FOMO shorts are showing up in mass. Weekend is dangerous to be long though, but when this liquidation finally bounces, will be time to play the squeeze that emerges. Let's see if we get a weekend catalyst or not. Now again, we didn't get a catalyst, but this is actually insane because we now have ETF and stock put option volume hitting all-time highs of 42 million. This is insane because if we do start to see a major squeeze of these options, the uptrend and ultimate reversal will be historical. Now, no, I'm not trying to sell you guys on this. I'm just saying that if this does happen, the reversal that I keep saying that could happen at any point, and it could surprise a lot of people on how fast it does reverse, could soon be here. And it could be here this week. Now, on top of this, when we think about XRP and Bitcoin and HBAR and, crypto in general, we're mainly focused on Bitcoin here, on what Bitcoin does next. And we just saw Bitcoin officially have a death cross on the daily. Now, we've talked about the death cross in the past, right? Here we actually have the cross happening on the chart. And this reminds me of this post over here from Benjamin Cohen, where he did talk about the Bitcoin death cross coming up soon. You may notice that local lows tend to occur around that time. You guys probably remember this post because, again, when we think about these death crosses, they typically mark a local bottom. We typically see a bottom and then we see a big impulsive move to the upside. We saw this back in July of 2023. We saw this back in July of 2024. We are now seeing this in April of 2025. Go back to the summer of 2021. Go back to July of 2020. I mean, or July of 2019. Every single time we've had an impulsive move to the upside, it's local lows. Now we see it on Bitcoin after Bitcoin has already dropped in the last month, almost 9%. The total drop from going back to like January is well over 30%. So what better way to mark a local bottom and, really kind of mark the bottom, if you will, on this sell-off and this correction than having a death cross at the same exact time that mainstream media is force-feeding us bearish post and, Black Monday like fear porn like this from Jim Cramer, one of the biggest inverse, indicators in the space. I just feel as if right now is probably the best time to lock in and really think back to previous cycles. If you are new to this market and maybe you're new to finance itself, do a little bit of research. Go back to March of 2020 for an example. Search up on Google, March of 2020, or just look at like finance or the stock market, and then filter it to the time frame of like March 1st all the way through the end of March. And look at the headline articles from like CNBC or like Wall Street Journal, Forbes, etc. Every single headline article during that time was that the stock market's going to continue to crash. Bitcoin is about to lose, key support and, possibly lose $1,000. I even remember during that time, like if we go back to King Solomon's prices over here, I think Bitcoin actually did hit some lows around like $3,000 or something like that. I remember a lot of people saying like, oh, Bitcoin's going to go and lose $1,000. This is like the end of crypto. Like everyone was actually pretty fearful during that time because we didn't know. I mean, you got to remember that crypto during that time was billions in market cap. So if we think about going all the way back to 2020 and during that crash, it was a terrifying time to be in crypto. But what ended up happening was a significant bounce and one of the biggest alt seasons and bull runs in history in 2021. Now, we are already at significant highs for Bitcoin and for crypto. And what's crazy about this is the market cap of crypto is sitting at about $2.5 trillion, yet everyone is panicking like it's COVID all over again. I don't believe that we should be panicking here. I don't think that we should be acting impulsively, and I don't think that we should be hysterical at all. I think that we should be, calm, collective, keep our emotions on the sidelines, and just wait this out. Because I do believe that this week could change everything, especially if we do start to squeeze these major options. Because, guys, this is showing us that retail is also extremely bearish at the same exact time that the big players like the big banks and even, mainstream media is telling us to be bearish. So it's already working perfectly. They are shaking the tree. Everyone is getting shaken out essentially. That, would essentially get shaken out on any significant, sell-off or correction. And it's working. It's working perfectly as we always expect it. So, now we really kind of wait for the open. We wait to see what happens this week, but I do expect April to be, the big month where we start to see that rally in terms of, a reversal and also a relief rally essentially first. So the number one thing that I'm looking at is initially the relief rally happening. We get back to previous highs. We break over the highs sometime around like May, possibly into June. And then towards the end of this year, we trade at all-time highs and we see alt season officially hit this market. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. We have to watch, wait, and see. We take it one day at a time, but I'll keep you guys posted regardless. And if you guys do want more up-to-date, updates, definitely join the free Discord as well to get, alerted on all of those big updates happening. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.